Guys, what is going on? It's the Club, the Man 1993 coming at you for a late night review of this week's episode of NXT, the November 1st edition of NXT in 2017. This is kind of a little late. I'm sorry, but I was watching the Astros and Dodgers game 7 tonight, so I caught NXT a little late, but I just want to get this review out of the way. So before I go to bed, I want to do this review of NXT. And overall, I thought this was a really strong show from NXT tonight. Was it A-worthy? Not quite. It was really strong, but it didn't I was close to giving the show an A-, but I just didn't quite feel like it was quite good enough to be there. But it was a really strong show. Really good build-up to NXT TakeOver War Games. That's why I'm gonna give this show a B+. So let's just get right into the action. Just go right through it. First off, also I want to say congratulations to the Houston Astros, who won the World Series tonight for the first time, and also congratulations to the Astros shortstop Carlos Correa, who is exactly 1 year younger than me. I proposed to his girlfriend afterwards, so he has a great night. Not only does he win the World Series, but he's also engaged to be married now. So that was pretty sweet as well. Just want to get that shout out there real quick. Let's get right into the show. We had it opening up with showing that the advertised how there's going to be a contract signing between Andrade Cien Almas and Drew McIntyre for the NXT Championship match, and they kept saying it was NXT TakeOver Houston. Why did they keep saying TakeOver Houston? But we found out why at the end. And they also announced that there was going to be a tag title match. It was going to be the two members of Sanity who of their choice. Whoever is not in the match is banned from ringside against the Authors of Pain, who again having their first match and is on their second appearance by them since dropping the tag titles to Sanity at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3. But we had a lot of good development leading up to stuff for NXT TakeOver War Games, and as well as some long-term booking that I thought tonight that could happen, which involves the NXT Championship. So I'll mention it to you guys, and you guys just be honest and say what you think of it, and then we'll go from there. So first match we had tonight was a kind of like a grudge match. It was more of a revenge match, even though not quite, because the person who was victorious in this match did still get into the match that she was originally costed from, and that is Taynara Conti taking on Nikki Cross. Taynara Conti, of course, is now my good friend Ryan Kenobi's profile picture here on YouTube. When he first, I logged on to do a speaking of which, Rob was in the live chat. I logged on to do a live stream with him just recently. I was startled at first. I'm like, what? And yep, sure enough, he put Conti's face as his new contact picture. And yes, she has really good priceless reactions. But Conti was in the Mae Young Classic. I also enjoyed the entrance she has, which is, she's a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. I personally myself was a black belt, but I was in a Shotokan. So just, seeing someone enter in a martial arts uniform with a black belt was pretty cool. I liked seeing that again. And then she was taking on the woman she originally tried costing her shot at the NXT Championship until she got in the Battle Royale to get another chance, Nikki Cross. So this is kind of like, these two, getting revenge on each other. And it was, a pretty good match, Nikki Cross, being just the unhinged she is, and seeming like she's herself and possibly Sandy as well, continues to slowly turn babyface. She just literally went out there and just beat the crap out of Taynara Conti. Nikki would then eventually win, first hitting a Tree of Woe, and then she would end it with a swinging neck breaker to get the victory. So Nikki Cross wins by pinfall, giving her some momentum going into NXT TakeOver War Games for the Fatal 4-Way match for the NXT Women's Championship as well. I think she could. I still don't know who. I would want to see win. I wouldn't mind it being Kairi Sane, but I don't want her to get a rush push. Peyton Royce, I'd be okay with. Ember Moon, it could be long coming for her. But I think Nikki Cross is the wild horse in this one. I think she could be the big surprise winner. And it wouldn't surprise me if they went with Nikki Cross. She's going through a little bit of a character change again. It seems like she is slowly turning face, as well as Sanity as well. It's still confusing whether it's Sanity or Austin Payne are the ones who are turning face in this whole thing with them and the Undisputed Era. But I think it would be a little bit of a shocker. But someone who I actually wouldn't mind seeing win the title would be Nikki Cross. So we'll see what happens when we get to TakeOver War Games, which is in 2 weeks from this Saturday, I believe. Then we had backstage, we had Paul Ellering standing outside of AOP's locker room waiting for them in their title match later. And then Mercedes Martinez was interviewed after she was not the one who came up victorious in the Battle Royal. She's disappointed she didn't win the big match. And then she was asked, who do you think will win the Fatal 4-Way? And she says she does not know who she can pick to win this match. She says, but she will pick the one who can't handle being in the big matches. She can't win in the big matches. And that's Ember Moon. So, so yeah, it looks like we are setting up a match probably before TakeOver War Games between Ember Moon and Mercedes Martinez. Give her some momentum. I'm cool with that. Actually, Robbie mentioned something in the comments section that I actually was thinking also, Mike, based on what Mercedes Martinez said, what if Ember Moon resorts to heel tactics to win the NXT Women's title at TakeOver War Games? I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they did turn Ember Moon heel. I think they did. It could use another top heel in the women's division. I think it would also, give her some a little more fresh juice, because, wouldn't Ember be frustrated? She has, fired her best shots at Asuka, and she knows that if it's not going to be enough, she might have to resort to like heel tactics to probably win the NXT Women's Championship. Or what if she does doesn't win the title and she turns heel and infuses with Kairi Sane or Nikki Cross as well if she wins the title. So I definitely think that it is highly possible I could see an Ember Moon heel turn happening before the end of this year. It could possibly happen at TakeOver War Games. So yeah, good point, Robbie. I was thinking the same thing. And then we had what I thought was actually like a really underrated match. I didn't say I didn't think this match was not going to be good, but I didn't think this match was going to be as good as it was. But it was Johnny Gargano taking on Fabian Eichner. And this was actually a pretty good match, I thought, between these two. These two were both in the Cruiserweight Classic. We've been seeing a lot of Johnny Gargano lately in the story of him just, trying to, move on as a singles competitor after Tommaso Ciampa split up from him. And Fabian Eichner is like an upstart. He had a solid match a few weeks ago against Cassius Ohno, but he came up short. But this was, just a solid Cruiserweight match that I enjoyed, with a lot of high-flying rolls and stuff like that. Gargano looked like he was getting more aggressive towards the end and setting up Eichner to eventually get the victory. But Eichner did a reverse roll up to get the pinfall for an upset. And as they were saying, this felt like an upset, and it was. Like, he snuck a win right past Gargano, and afterwards, he's Eichner's pointed out, he beat Gargano, and Gargano just looks like, you can tell he's still affected by what happened with Tommaso Ciampa. And it's obvious that, this could have built him up as an ultimate underdog. And I will talk a little bit about, again, some long-term booking I can see happening for Gargano, as I believe that him and Ciampa will most likely have their match at TakeOver New Orleans right before WrestleMania 34. But I'll get to that right after I talk about the contract signing for the NXT Championship match at TakeOver War Games, which should be very shortly. We had backstage, we had Drew McIntyre finishing up his end of the paperwork, signing a contract in Regal's office, and he was going to be taking it out to the ring to go face to face with Almas for him to sign it. And we also had a nice hype video with Aleister Black as he is saying, "You've got my attention, Dream," and makes a match between Aleister Black and the Velveteen Dream official. I'm very interested to see what happens there. I love Aleister Black, but I'm wondering also, could the Velveteen Dream also overcome this as well? This is his first shot on pay-per-view, and just for him to get squashed by Aleister Black, I wouldn't want to see that happen. But Aleister, seemed to have a lot of the momentum. I think he'd be okay if the Velveteen Dream somehow pulls off an upset over him, I'd say. So, I mean, despite being a fan of Aleister Black, I'm thinking the Velveteen Dream might have a shot at winning that match. And we also had a video of the Street Profits taking a look at Maserati, and then they were confronted by Tito and Riddick, Tito Santana and Riddick. I mean, Tito Sabat. Wow, I'm getting tongue twisted. You can tell I'm tired. Tina Sabatelli and Riddick Moss's car, and they come out as, they just tell them to back off pretty much. And the segment was probably going to have a tag match between the Street Profits and Rick Moss and Tina Sabatelli. Robbie wants a Street Profits Party Cup. Sure, I'm definitely before that as well. I definitely see them as future tag champions as well, because I'm really liking the energy they bring. And then we get to it was supposed to be the contract signing as Drew McIntyre makes his entrance out to get to the ring, and then Andrade Cien Almas with Zelina Vega attacked him from behind, and he beat him down, and then almost grabbed the contract and signed it, and he left, and then he took Vega's gum out, stuck it to the contract, and just stuck it to McIntyre. So the match is set. We are going to get the NXT Championship match at TakeOver War Games between McIntyre and Almas, which I'll give this this booking option. Now, I know I said like back whenever McIntyre won the title that it was a good route to go, but it's like I don't feel like it was the strongest story by far, but it's still he's been a great champion. I feel like this match is not going to be the main event of TakeOver War Games. So like the War Games match that was also made official later on tonight will be the main event, but I think, Drew McIntyre's run in NXT is going to be short. I think he will be ready to go to the main roster either by the end of the year or early in 2018 around the Royal Rumble. So what I'm proposing is, what if Almas wins the title against McIntyre, either here or on just another random episode of NXT? He wins the title off of McIntyre. Either McIntyre gets his rematch, or he'll Bobby Roode it and not accept his rematch and just go straight up to the main roster. And you have, let's go back to Johnny Gargano losing to Fabian Eichner earlier. Keep building him up as this underdog who's just going through the hoops. And, he earns his way to getting a title shot because he does have history with Almas. And what if, he wants to prove once and for all that he can beat Almas by challenging Almas for the NXT Championship at TakeOver Philadelphia? And either he wins the title there, or even I heard he's probably not going to be cleared to wrestle till March. What if Tommaso Ciampa causes a distraction and causes Gargano to lose? Although I would think it would make more sense better to put the title on Gargano, because when they have their match at TakeOver New Orleans, there's nothing that's going to be able to top that match. That's a main event match right there. So why not put the title on Gargano to make that match look even more stronger? Long-term booking right there. I don't know what you guys think of it. You can let me know down in the comments section. Robbie, if you're still watching, let me know in the live chat. But that's what I would do. I'd say, because McIntyre, had a strong run as champion. He had a great title defense against Roderick Strong, and then Andrade Cien Almas has been getting a lot of momentum with the help of his new manager, Zelina Vega. And I think he is in a point where he's like, there's nothing more for him to do really than challenge for the NXT Championship. Because I do believe that I'd say by WrestleMania 34, Almas will be ready for the main roster. I think sometime next summer, Almas will be up. As well as AOP, I think could be up by the end of the year. If not, definitely by Royal Rumble. I think we'll be seeing AOP on the main roster as well. But that's what I would do. Keep building Gargano up as this underdog. Have him challenge Almas for the title at TakeOver Philadelphia. And I'd say, scratch the fact of Ciampa costing him the title. Have either way, Gargano wins the title, and Ciampa challenges him for it at TakeOver New Orleans. Because again, that match is going to be match of the year probably next year. And Robbie says, awesome idea. Book it. Please sign Mike. Thank you, Robbie. But that's what I would do for a long-term booking as well. So that's my idea for the future for the NXT Championship. And then we have a video of Billie Kay and Peyton Royce just talking about how they're upset that because Billie Kay didn't get in the Fatal 4-Way, just being the bullies that they are. And then they begin to tease Kairi Sane and just make fun of her gimmick of her being the pirate princess and saying Halloween was just yesterday, so take off your costume. And then she appears and she just spins her little wheel and she just points her right elbow at them and just gets close to them, showing that that right elbow is threatening because everybody loves her elbow drop finisher. And they're like, what was that elbow all about? But pretty much and they advertised pretty much setting up a match between Kairi Sane and Billie Kay for next week's episode, which should be a good match. So that was good. That was a good way to set that up. And then finally we got our main event. It was Sanity, but it was again the Freebird role for Sanity as tag champions. However, whoever was not in the match was banned from ringside. So it was Eric Young and Alexander Wolf, the ones who did win the titles at TakeOver Brooklyn 3, taking on the Authors of Pain in an NXT Tag Team Championship rematch. This is a good match. Probably prefer the one at TakeOver Brooklyn 3 a little more than this, but this was still a really good match between these two. They work well together. Again, someone who continues to impress me the most is Alexander Wolf, because he seemed like me the third wheel sometimes, because we all know how dangerous Killian Dane is because of him being a big guy. And Eric Young as well, with his crazy unhingedness that he has. We all know that. But Alexander Wolf continues to really impress me as well. And it looked like that AOP did have the right in the palm of their hands. I believe they did hit the last chapter on them until the Undisputed Era came in, broke up the pin, causing a disqualification. And afterwards, they were all brawling. Killian Dane came down the ramps to help out Sanity, but it was no use. They were still getting attacked by the Undisputed Era. And then the interesting aspect came in. Roderick Strong made his way to the ring. And last week's episode of NXT, and well, that's not last week, but for a few weeks now in NXT, they have been teasing, the Undisputed Era trying to recruit Roderick Strong, which I thought could possibly happen because, he's an ROH guy as well. Maybe he'll join them just to give him something fresh to do. Because, he's been developed as a strong babyface. What if they throw a curveball at us and he turns heel and joins the Undisputed Era? Well, it looked like he was accepting the invitation as he did put on the armband. And they set up for Strong to, beat down, I think it was Razor. But then instead, he starts attacking Adam Cole. And then he clears the ring, and then AOP comes in to join him, but they don't attack Roderick Strong. And then Regal comes out to the ring, saying, this chaos it needs to be taken care of. So he then sets up a huge triple threat match. As I said, this needs to be the main event at NXT TakeOver War Games. It's going to be the team of the Undisputed Era taking on all three members of Sanity, taking on the team of Authors of Pain and Roderick Strong. With 2 rings, 1 cage, and a match has not been seen in 20 years, War Games. So there you have it. The match is set. We will be having a War Games match at NXT TakeOver War Games, making instead of NXT TakeOver Houston, it's now NXT TakeOver War Games for a fact. And, of course, Marvin All left us with a nice line of, Houston, we have a War Games. So that should be a really exciting match. Could possibly be a match of the year contender, I feel, as well. These threes will do awesome. In the live chat, Robbie says, when the Iconic Duo splits, who do you think will be the better heel between Billie Kay and Peyton Royce? Who would be the better one? Better heel? Who would be the one turning? It's a good question. I mean, it has seemed like, as far as I can remember, I feel that Peyton Royce has had some more opportunities than Billie Kay. So maybe Billie will remain the heel and Peyton. And then Robbie says, if Nikki Cross wins the women's title at TakeOver War Games, how about having Ruby Riott chasing in on a title shot based on the previous times Nikki and her teamed up? That's quite possible as well. Maybe Ruby Riott will revert to a heel role, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Definitely some interesting booking decisions there, Robbie. But I mean, I chat more, but I'm getting tired. I'm gonna go to bed. But that is my review for this week's episode of NXT. Again, very good show. Didn't quite make the A- level for me. I'm gonna give this a really strong B+. So we had just a lot happen. We had several matches made official. With the War Games match, the championship match, the NXT championship match. Oh yeah, Aleister Black and the Velveteen Dream. We still have the Fatal 4-Way, and I do believe that from rumors have it, the last match is going to be added to this card is going to be a match between Lars Sullivan and Cassius Ohno. All for that. Let's do it if that is what the rumors are true. But yeah, that is it. What grade would you guys give this week's episode of NXT? Please leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And as always, please click that like and subscribe for more content to come to this channel. Robbie, thank you for tuning in to the live chat. My final Survivor Series card predictions were uploaded today as well. And then I also did my War Games final predicted card last week. Check those out. I'm going to probably tomorrow morning, first thing I'm probably going to do is review WrestleMania 11 because I watched that today as well. But since I'm not as busy this month, I'm definitely going to knuckle down on that WrestleMania review series. So again, thank you guys for tuning in and watching this. Robbie, thanks again for tuning in the live chat. And I will see you all later. Have a great night, everybody.